Sharpness, boys. Do you want to be able to carry with Psylocke like this? All right, healer dead. Two dead. Strange. Well, if you want to carry your comp matches, then you're in the right place. But Psylocke's kit has a lot more than you'd expect. She's one of only 2 5-star characters in the game, with the other being Spider-Man. So in this video, I'm going to break down her kit, her matchups against different characters, the combos, and the playstyle that you can utilize to win games. But first off, why should you listen to me? Well, I'm not just some guy. I was a top 500 peak rank 5 in Overwatch, and already I'm the top 99.98% in Marvel Rivals after just a few days of playing the game and only being able to stream it 4 hours a night because I'm trying to make content on the game. So without further ado, let's get into it. Her primary ability is to shoot shurikens that do a high burst of damage. Shoot twice with her primary fire with your left click, and her right click to just shoot projectiles that you can bring back. Even if you miss the right click, you can still bring it back to do a huge burst of damage on enemies that you can line up on them. And the best thing is that it doesn't have any fall off damage, which means it can serve as a great finishing tool. And for her next ability, she has 2 dashes, which both do 50 damage, which are great for not only an engagement tool in some scenarios, but in my case, I like to use it mostly as a get out of jail card. Next, we have her invisibility. My go-to if I'm really going to engage a target. She goes invisible for 3 seconds and gains increased movement speed. But be careful though, because if you're moving around while invis, you can still be shot at and briefly revealed. So do be careful when using this ability, but it is a great option for getting it out if you're in a tricky situation. All these tools fit together in a fast, fun playstyle, and that's not even to add that every time she hits her left click ability, all of her cooldowns on her right click, her invisibility, and her dashes lower. So if you're really accurate, you can really make sure she's in and out before the enemy even knows what hit them. Worth. I don't care if I die now. Oh my god! And then finally, you have the finale. Her ultimate. You get an iframe where you're untouchable, and for 4 seconds, you're wielding your psychic blade. Untouchable to any and just slaying everyone that's within the circle. And you can move while within the circle, albeit very, very slowly. So do take note of that. And though that's her kit, there's more to her than meets the eye, starting with her playstyle. Now, a lot of people would call Psylocke a flanker, but I'd have to half disagree with that. When I think of a flanker in this game, I think of Black Panther or Spider-Man, having excess mobility to get in, combo, and then get out. In the case of Black Panther, every time he throws his spear, there's a mark on the enemy that he can dash through, throw the spear again, dash, use his little twist kick on them, and then dash out. But Psylocke, while she has great burst potential, she doesn't necessarily have that excess of mobility like Black Panther or Spider-Man, meaning she has to be very methodical and surgical with her engagements. If anything, I wouldn't see Psylocke as a flanker, but as my friend who plays Rainbow Six Siege will call it, I feel like she's a roamer. Sometimes playing the front line and with her big burst damage, taking down the tanks before moving on to the rest of the team, or sometimes when the enemy team is distracted, moving on to the back line. Because the problem with only trying to play Psylocke like a flanker is, I feel like a big reason why at higher ranks, a lot of flankers can fall off, especially if you play Psylocke like this. At higher levels of play, and as teams coordinate more and get better, they're gonna be more grouped up. So you're not just gonna be able to find a solo healer out on by themselves like you would in a quick play match. Teams are talking more at this rank. Teams are coordinated more at this rank. So with that being the case, you need to know how to pick your fights carefully. So typically the way that I like to play Psylocke is chipping at the takes while taking a side angle and dishing damage at the DPS or supports and finishing or really finding those engagements. Because the thing is, you need to make sure that the aggro isn't on you. Let's use MMO terminology. If you're the one taking all the aggro in the back line, everyone's going to turn on you and you're not going to get much value. And another case to go with that, if their DPS or tanks are just blowing right through and they need more damage on the tanks or the DPS, what were you doing chasing the supports when they're not dying? So that's another thing. The key with Psylocke is her burst potential in taking down targets with speed, but you need to be patient. I wouldn't recommend using dashes as an engagement tool, or at least very rarely. Typically, I like to use the invisibility, and even only sometimes, trying to keep all my cooldowns until I feel like I need it. But then, once a target is vulnerable, or I have someone in my sight line that's not too out of reach, or I can finish off quickly, then I use the combos on them. And speaking of combos, let's go into that section next. Now, combos are an essential part of Psylocke's kit, because even as a roamer, sometimes you're going to have to duel against other DPS, or you are going to have the opportunity to pick off supports. So the opportunities will present themselves, but you need to have the know-how to do that. Take a look at this clip where I finish off this Hela. All right, Hela dead. Now, an essential part of your combo is going to be your right-click ability. The ability where you throw your shurikens in and pull them back. Typically, what I like to do is left-click, and when you left-click, it shoots twice. But I left-click, and as soon as it only shoots out one shot, I animation cancel it with the right-click, pull it back, and then shoot them twice with the left-click again. Alternatively, you could shoot with the left-click, let the shot shoot twice, shoot with the right click, pull it back, and then shoot with the left click only once. And the thing is, when playing Psylocke, you need to keep in mind you don't have to be as close up as you think you do in your mind. Yes, she's an assassin that's close up, but her drop-off range before her damage starts falling off is 20 meters. And if you look at the image behind me, that's very generous. And especially with some characters that have defensive tools that can stun you or are very dangerous for you, you definitely want to keep your range. What? Because not only is up close easier for you to hit your target, it's also easier for them to hit you. And here's the damage as follows. Most squishy characters have 250 health. Her right click, if you hit all of their shots, do 110 damage. Her left click, if you hit all body shots, does 90 damage. And if you hit headshots with her left click, it does about 140 damage. So 140 plus 110, bam, they're one-shotted. And then you could do a dash for 50 damage to guarantee it. But again, touching on the dash, I would recommend only really using the dash as a finishing tool if you're close, because dashing into them and then being in front of them, that's an easy way to get headshot. I would try to dash usually if you're trying to finish a target that's running away, or if you're close up to dash up behind them and really get the melee on them. It comes more with the territory of getting familiar with the character and finding the range, but that comes with experience and playtime. But now that we have her abilities out the way and ways that you could combo enemies to win your duels, it wouldn't be a complete character guide without character interactions. Because while her ult is a bread and butter of her kit, allowing you to get some great 3-piece, sometimes even 4-piece, or God, even 5-piece kills on the scoreboard, sometimes there's characters that could completely negate that or stop you in your tracks from doing it. And we're going to talk about how to circumvent that next. But if I did include all that in this one video, then this video would be over 30 minutes long. So I'm just going to keep this part for now and look out for part 2. But I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please check out my Twitch at twitch.tv/Atomfactor_ at the end, where you can catch me streaming every night at 12 a.m. Eastern live. And I also stream here on YouTube now, you know, a little duo streaming. And look out for the shorts, YouTube content. I'm going to be very consistent with putting out videos for this game. So if you enjoyed this, I'd very much appreciate it if you guys subscribe. But look out for part 2. Thank you guys so much for watching. And deuces, boys.
It's been one hell of a ride. Gotta make it alright.
Oh, Hawkeye dead! Ulting? We need to kill Adam. Nope! Woo-hoo-hoo! Let's go, boys! Ah, we do this!
Nice.
We do this!